everybody.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Toolizzforyou, Toolizzforyou.
And I'm cpredmor on Ravelry, and on Instagram I'm Knitting in Our Jeans, and I posted today, Richard working on the boat. Obviously I'm down below also. We are hemmed in at the moment by somebody ahead of us who has not gotten back in touch with the boatyard. And there's one other fellow who's ready to go who's also caught behind him. So we're going to try and see if we can get that boat moved so that we can get at least us two out. Who knows? Meanwhile, there's stuff we can work on in the yard, make that boat just a little bit better. So that's good. Yes, I'm in another Gap shirt because we've been out working on the boat. Long sleeves, tunic top type of thing. So really long. I make sure I put my suntan lotion on. I've got, what are these?
Leggings.
Thank you, leggings. I'm so tired. Leggings on, and then today I actually put my knee brace on.
You did.
At least one of my knee braces because the sucker hurts. It's really starting to click almost every time I move it. So we'll see how long I can stand it because it's painful. Anyway, on our way over to the boatyard, we joined in a caravan.
In a car protest, as it was described when they got home.
Yes. Terribly upper middle class white people.
Well, you know.
And I'm sorry I didn't have a sign, so I need to have a sign when I go out in the car.
Okay.
I'm also trying to talk your father into going up to the end of the street with me and sitting in lawn chairs.
Okay.
With our signs. I figure early in the morning because it's cooler then. And then I can get, be an hour up there and then walk back. I said I could sit under the tree in the front yard, but there's no traffic that passes by. So I need to get some cardboard and make my sign.
Okay. Speaking of that, as we spoke about last week.
Is there a sign in the east?
As we spoke about last week, there is Black Lives Still Matter and will always matter. If you don't agree with that statement,
we're sorry.
We're sorry, and if you leave,
because of that, we're
because
sorry
of that,
go, but
you don't need to announce your departure. This is not an airport.
Well, has anybody? I don't think
no, but I'm
has.
just letting you all know that this is how we feel.
Well, and I come at it from a very personal point of view.
Yes.
I'm old enough to have been told when I went to college that I didn't deserve to be there because I was a woman. So I have a little bit of understanding of what it feels like to be judged just on what you look like. And it's not like fat shaming or something else, which is also visible to the eye, but this was just, you're a woman, you don't belong here. In fact, we were told that we did not belong there, that we were taking the place of a man who deserved to be there. And I have written to Bishop Curry, and I said, I can only vaguely imagine what that must be like to live every day. Every woman, I think, has had occasions where you've been scared for your life, or for your virtue, or for your body, or you were terrified. And I can't imagine living that way every day. I can tell you my first job I got because of a quota. I was counted as a minority. Yeah.
So
how sad is that?
So in this house, we are with you. As Mom is showing, she is trying to figure out how to organize her own type of protest, as she is still part of the vulnerable population for COVID, and as we mentioned, has the knee, so has not been. Neither of us have been able to go to any of the marches or the protests that have happened over the last week.
But if there's a place where I can give out water and stuff, I'd be there.
Which I am definitely checking out because I too would love to do that. I just wanted to point out something. If you are going to the protests and you have asthma, be very careful. I've recently learned that tear gas is deadly to those with asthma because it can nullify your emergency medication, your emergency inhalers. Sorry, that makes me really upset that that the United States has decided that this is an okay thing to use on domestic soil or anywhere when it was banned by the Geneva Convention in the 50s. Sorry, getting off that soapbox because I'm about to start crying because it makes me very upset from a number of reasons. But yes, if you have asthma, please be extremely careful about that. Again, wear your sunscreen, wear your masks. If you're looking for places to donate, within our community, there are a good amount of funds. I know that Neighborhood Fiber Company is starting up a Momentum Fund, which they hope to get $50,000 for to get started, and they're almost there. And as always, there are many other organizations that you can help. I know Black Visions is another one, Color of Change.
Local NAACP.
The local NAACP is good. The Black Lives Matter movement is also a good place, as well as your local bail organizations.
The legal defense, NAACP has the Legal Defense Fund, and so if you feel better donating to a group that has been around a very long time, is a national as well as local, that is one choice that you have.
And with that, also the national bailout has an established track record and is also nationwide and is currently focusing on protesters and those who are who have been put in custody under bail recently. Anything else? I've been posting to my stories a lot of different ways that you can help and that we can work to identify our privilege and work to lessen it, or at least acknowledge it within your own lives.
Share it.
Share it with others.
Yes.
Okay. So that's where we're going with this. It's something that we're not going to stop talking about, because it's something that needs to be said. We are 2 white women. That's a privilege in and of itself. And we have this platform, which is a privilege in and of itself, yes. But a lot of people don't have that, and we want to make sure.
Someone asked me about who would marry me if I became a doctor.
Yes.
It's been a long, hard road.
Yes.
And I can't imagine hearing that on a daily basis.
I know, which is why we're not staying quiet.
Right. It's a big deal.
And I don't know how else to tell you all that this is not something that's going away. And
I hope it's not going away.
This is something that I know you and I are working on. I know you've spoken to our parish priest about.
I have spoken to just about anybody I could within our religion.
We're within your also sphere of influence, I believe. Yes. But what I was going to say was you've reached out to our priest about a book review, like a book group that our priest had mentioned wanting to start up in the last week over these issues. I don't remember the book that she had recommended that she wanted to start with, but it talked about
mine's downstairs.
Looking at being anxious, and working towards anti-racism in a Christian faith-based way.
Right.
I personally am going to also probably be looking at some of the other texts that have been recommended this week. But I just wanted to put that out there. And yes, this is not something that's going away. If you don't like hearing us talk about it,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that, and see y'all later.
But maybe you want to stay and listen. I have to tell you that I was at a conference on leadership, servant leadership, in Lancaster, England, several years ago. And what they were trying to do was look for some kind of North Star to recommend to others as to how you would know that you were doing the right thing. And so they decided to look at romantic poetry, because the Romance poets looked at nature as being perfection. So perhaps if you found a favorite romantic poem that would help you be true to your roots and be true to nature. And I decided to write a paper on Nehru and his love of a Robert Frost poem, which we decided was close enough in the American genre to be classified as a romantic poet. But as I sat in the conference, the host, the main speaker, got up and went on and on about how we needed to be reminded about what was right and what was true, and that we probably had 30 years to apologize for. And I told him that I felt sorry for him, because if you have put yourself in an environment where you're not being true to yourself and you're not being honest, shame on you. I worked for a Catholic college, a very open and welcoming Catholic college.
Yes.
On my drive to school, I would think about the cross on the top of Smith Chapel as I drove in, and many times I was rewriting my lectures that day as I drove in, because what would be the better way to do this? Our founder was Jean-Baptiste de La Salle, who's the patron saint of teachers, and he always asked you to do a little bit better. Can you be a little bit better? How can you express that in a better way? I have spent over 30 years trying to put myself in other people's places. Sometimes I've succeeded. Many times I probably have not. When you succeed, you probably don't know you've succeeded until decades later. I'm old enough now that I'm getting some of the emails from my former students and saying, I bet you don't remember, but this is what you did for me that day. And they're right, I don't remember. I don't remember. I didn't remember reading you Rainbow Fish. I don't remember. But it's those little things that you do that can suddenly make a difference, oh dear, in someone's life. So I do think that you need to think about the other person on a daily basis. And for example, this summer, I'm teaching during COVID. I'm teaching an online class, which is supposed to be online, and I got people that are disappearing left, right, and center. I've got one that I have sent that is normally an excellent student. She is usually stellar, and I'm getting dead silence. And finally, steam is coming out of my ears now, because I think I'm being cast aside. And I thought about, well, I definitely was going to write her. And then I thought about, what was I going to write? And I decided to ask if she was okay. Are you okay? Is your family okay? Is there something I can help you with? I got an answer within an hour. She was apologizing. Things had just come down on her head. Things were just between being in New York with COVID and all these other classes that suddenly became online, whereas mine had always been online. She was getting sunk. So she really appreciated that I had reached out to her. Now, that was not my first response, but it was the one I sent. So sometimes taking a minute to think about what I really want to do. Yes, I'd love to be angry and that professor that stomps through things, but that wasn't going to help.
You can't stomp, Mom. It's painful for you to stomp.
You know what I mean. I used to wear these high heel boots as I walked down the hall, and they could hear me go,
yes,
down the hall. I have a wicked march.
Oh, I do. Where do you think I got it from?
And I think that my way of looking out from other people's perspectives has been helpful. Has it been helpful all the time? I doubt that. There's no way I could be on my game all the time. I do my best, you know? And we're looking to find out what the better way to be. Saint de La Salle says he keeps wanting you to be better. My dean said she wanted us to be better than the best. And the idea was that here's where your goal and this is where you are. And this is a good way to go. And maybe that's a good way to go. But is there a way that's better than this? That way. And that would be being better than the best. And so we're looking to explore and learn about ways to be better than the best, or better than I was yesterday.
And it's not a sprint.
No.
It's a marathon. And that's what we're doing.
Yes.
And, so that's a lot. And we know it's a lot.
But I'll take off on that with what I want to talk about for my knitting.
I know. Well, and I know a lot of our community has had trouble with their crafting during this time, and I want to acknowledge that. and say that I hope you can find joy in it again sometime soon.
Yes.
Or you can
Or
find
try a
joy in
different
anything.
craft.
Or, yes, that you can find solace in something.
Do you know what I picked up? I got an app the other night, last night.
Is it coloring?
Yes. Yes, coloring on my iPad.
So, I wanted to, acknowledge that it's okay.
It's a little simple, but...
And you know what? Sometimes you just don't craft.
Sometimes you need a coloring book.
But also, sometimes you just need to not
be quiet.
Do things.
Yes.
Sometimes you just need to be.
Yeah.
Again, support who you can, support how you can.
Be supportive of yourself, too.
And we're working on being better and making the world a better place for all. And right now, that's focused with the Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
So, yes, this is not going to be something that we forget about. I want to make a conscious effort to make sure that it's not something that goes by the wayside.
Right.
I'm finding it very interesting personally because my father is a tall white man. If you couldn't figure that out by who I am and who my mother, like there is no way that my father is anything but a tall white man, given my stature. And so explaining these different things to him over the last few years has been both a learning experience for him and a learning experience for me, as I've learned how to verbalize exactly what I'm feeling and how to explain in a way that someone who hasn't seen the adversity firsthand can take it on board and understand. And as Gigi has said many a time, in the last few weeks, we are standing in the gap.
Yes.
Whenever and wherever we can.
Mm-hmm.
So
being better.
Yes, being better.
This is my circle sweater.
The legacy cardigan?
Yes. No, it's called the traveling sweater.
Traveling sweater.
So anyway, it looks different than it did last week.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you that this is what it should have looked like last week. This is the end of one section. I kept looking at it going, I don't think that's right. I really don't think that's right. Let me read this again. And it took me until about Thursday of this week to go, oh my gosh. I was not doing the 11 rows in between the short rows. And so it was becoming a pie way too soon. So I ripped it out. I ripped out, I can't tell you how many rows. I ripped out to here.
How did you rip it out? Did you put another needle in, or did you
ripped
just ripped it out?
I was watching. I was watching where the pickup row was.
Okay.
For that first.
The first
set of short rows.
Okay.
And so I caught it right before that pickup row, because I knew that was okay. And at that point, that was a solid row. And then I could do my 11 rows, and then I could do the next set of short rows, and then 11 rows. So I watched it.
Good.
This yarn is not very sticky, so it wasn't pulling itself out, which is good. It was the individual stitches showed, but this wasn't sticking to that. Therefore, when I pulled this,
it was sticky enough that it was holding its shape, but it wasn't too sticky where when you pull, sometimes I don't know if you've dealt with this when frogging something, when you pull it and it pulls 2 or 3 stitches below because it gets caught on itself.
The nap.
That's the halo. That's what Mom's talking about with not being too sticky.
Right.
But it's not like this linen and silk where
it could disappear.
Where it just would lose itself.
This kept its definition, so I was able to follow it, and I had a pile of yarn on the floor. But I have now re-knit it, and so I am back to where I should have been last week at the end of one section.
Good.
So that's
Really
exciting.
nice.
I'm really pleased.
I really like the colorway.
I do too.
And how
it was
knitting
excellent.
Up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We knew it was good back then.
Yes.
Yes. Then last week I talked about my crochet project. They wanted for the headmistress, I think it was the headmistress project, to do something that you found difficult. I'm a knitter. Can you tell?
You're a knitter who sometimes crochets.
Granny squares. Granny squares.
Yes.
So this is what I did for my headmistress challenge. It is 2 pieces that are crocheted, and they're crocheted in a way that there are slots in between. And when you fold them over, suddenly they get these legs.
Oh, nice.
And then you can intersperse the legs, and then you put the leg over the end one to hold it, and then I sewed it together so it's not coming apart.
Nice.
I think it could be a cute little trivet.
I was going to say it could be a cute little coffee trivet, or it could be, because it's cotton, right?
Yes.
It could be a cute little boat, scrubby for the boat.
Actually, if it's linen.
I was going to say it could be a cute little scrubby for the boat.
Yeah. So
For the,
it's got nice body,
Yeah.
and I'm very pleased with it. So this is the heart that I was talking about last week, and yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to put it to use. It will not be white or ecru for long.
Yeah.
But I'm very pleased with it. So this was my stepping out of my comfort zone. The other thing I want to do this week is put away some of those patterns that aren't in their regular boxes, and that'll move me forward in another one of their stupid things. I finished 2 things.
Well, can I talk with what I'm... let's finish your stuff, and then we'll go on to my stuff.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about what I'm planning to do this week. Sorry, I have a dry spot.
Yeah. It's because we've started to put on the ACs everywhere in the house. Well, and I turned on my air conditioning this week.
Well, yes.
Which is huge for me, because I'm always cold. So I turned on my air conditioner, not yesterday, the day before, and it got to a point where it was too cold, so I had to turn it off. And then yesterday, I turned it on, and then again it got a little too cold, and I was like, okay, we gotta turn this up. My air conditioner is usually set at about 76, 77 to keep it cool enough, but also so I'm not shivering on my couch.
So now, what's it at now?
Currently it's off because it was cool overnight, and I just didn't feel like running it. And I don't know how long I'm staying today.
We don't have, in this house, we don't have north windows. In fact, I think we only have 2. One has an air conditioner, one's the little one in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So there was a beautiful north breeze this morning, and I was out walking at about 7:30 this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It was gorgeous. So I pried open one of the windows in the kitchen that is somewhat angled, but it really wasn't enough to get that north breeze in. We don't have south-facing windows at all.
No.
East-west, we're good, but not north and not south. So we do have air conditioning on, even though it's gorgeous outside, because we can't catch the breeze.
And now, once you turn it on, you really don't want to go back to open windows because it's starting to get so humid.
Well, right now it's not humid out at all.
Well, yes.
So I'm very happy to turn them off, open the windows. I open the windows at the top of a hat.
Yesterday I was debating whether I open the windows or if I just turn off the AC. I voted turn off the AC because last night it was still humid.
Yes. So anyway, I finished 2 blanket squares this week. I had migraines for 3 days this week.
I think I did too.
The storms were set up in a train. So there was one train that came straight across Pennsylvania and straight through New York and straight over Long Island. Then there was another one 2 days ago that came up from the south. It was
Wednesday, Thursday?
That came up from the south and went like this right over Long Island. And it was like someone took a nail and just stuck it through my head and kept pounding on it.
I think it was at least Wednesday.
I did not. It was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I think.
Yeah, it must have been.
Anyway.
Me too.
So all I got done were 2 blanket squares.
But you got them done.
I got this, which I think is really pretty.
It's
so
very
this is
nice.
Part of that
the gradient
Cascade 220 gradient lapcan. And I forget which block this is, but I really like it. And I did it for a class for the Harry Potter Knitting Crocheting Club. And it this one hasn't been accepted yet because I just turned it in yesterday. This one I turned in... I don't think, is there a right and wrong side? This is the right side. And I thought it looked like flowers, almost.
Yeah, I like the texture.
Like tulips, I guess that way. Yes, yeah. Tulips opening. So the clue,
the task,
thank you, was to look at a sea lavender and craft something that reminded you of the sea lavender. And I went. So this is also one of the blanket squares from the Lapgan from Cascade.
Nice.
I'm very pleased. I've got another one here to work on. One of these is block number 2.
Okay.
Which this, I don't think this is block number 1 because
I think it's this one because if
that's
that
2,
one and
that's
that one's
3.
3, so then I think that would work.
I don't know. Anyway, one of these is 2. I don't know what the other number is. It's in my Ravelry. And then this one by Nikki Epstein is number 3. That looks to me like a crown. And
Looks
the
like a flower basket.
prompt. Oh, the prompt for the class is to make something that someone would treasure. And so I saw a crown, and I went,
Yes.
that would be something someone could treasure.
Yes.
So that's what I finished this week. And now, darling, what have you worked on? And I would have done more. I didn't work
The
on
migraines.
my red sweater. I barely got to back where I was on my traveling sweater. The migraines really knocked me out.
But I think we also, you and I talked a lot this week outside of the podcast also about what's going on. There was a lot of introspection this week as well.
I can introspect.
I know,
what knit.
you knit all the time. I tend to read things on my phone.
I read things on my iPad,
Right.
which is on my lap while I knit.
Yeah.
So I can do that.
Yeah. So I have gotten to the split
Look at that.
for the Vellichor. I measured
And
it
passed it.
earlier. Yes, I figured out, so I tried it on this week, and I realized that even though when I held it up, it was 12 inches, when I put it on, it was running a little short of what I wanted, so I did 2 extra stripes than I had anticipated for the body, because I wanted to make sure that I was comfortable in it. I do know from washing the swatch that it will relax and grow a little bit, but I'm
that's
okay with it being a little bit longer. Because I don't intend for it to be super cropped. I intend on being able to wear it with jeans as well as these pants, because I think it actually look really good. I'm wearing my purple high-waisted pants, so I think it actually would look really cute with that.
Your purple burrito pants.
Yes, my burrito smuggling pants. So I've gotten to 3 inches above the split. So I will probably finish that. The front. So the other thing that we're fighting with on this is that I only have this much yarn left of the main color.
Oh dear.
So I'm going to finish the front to the point of where you finish using the contrast color. And then I'm going to knit the back, and then I'm going to do the ribbing at the top that connects at the shoulders and also makes the neckline, and then ends up doing the little sleeve ribbing. In case I don't have enough of this, the plan is to do, if I don't have enough, is to do the sleeve ribbing in the coordinating color, because I have a whole nother skein in addition to the little bit I have left. I might wind up that skein and use that for the back, instead of having to switch in the middle.
That's an idea.
Of the back. Yeah. So I'm working on that. I'm really, I'm intentionally working on it. So I only do, now that I'm working on half of the stitches, I'm only doing 2 or 4 of the stripes instead of the 2 that I was doing in the round, since it's half of the stitches, so it's approximately the same. So yeah, I'm enjoying the intentional nature of only working on it for that specific amount of time. It's interesting because you don't really
want to push.
I want to push, but I also know that I've made this commitment to myself to have this intentional time.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that really helpful, just in my day.
That's good.
So yeah, so I've been working on that, and then I have done the 4 inches of plain on the sleeves, and I've done the first.
What is this sweater?
This is the test knit sweater that I'm doing.
Okay.
And I've done the first decrease. I have to do 6 more, but there's a good amount of row, about 1.5 inches in between each one. So I really need to get cracking on this. I do think the pattern will be released before the end of the test knit is officially completed. But The woman who's designed it has said that that is all right with her, due to the fact that, you know, this is all happening with everything else that's going on in the world. And she's being very understanding of that. Also, my wrist has become sore recently.
I can't open bottles
no
anymore.
fun. Oh, no.
Well, it's just I'm knitting way too much.
Yeah.
I am a project knitter. I
Yes.
like to get things done. And by
Yes.
the way, what I'm doing is I am balling up some yarn. This is Emma's yarn, and it is something that I got at the last Rhinebeck going through the town.
We went into Saugerties, into...
It was in the Untangled.
It's the perfect blend yarn and tea shop.
Yes.
In Saugerties.
Which is lovely. We've been there several times. And she had a pop-up.
She had multiple pop-ups throughout the day,
right.
but we were there during the Emma's Yarn one.
Yes. And so I got this. And I have promised Elizabeth I'm going to do something, which I'll talk about in a little bit.
So I have completed the waistband of the Ripple Buttshorts. I have done the short rows to increase for the tuchus. And then I am now doing the knitting just in the round. You do increases every so often. This has been put by the wayside because I would really like to get the sweater done. I'm also a little worried about how see-through these short... Oh, that doesn't look as see-through as I... No, they're pretty see-through.
They're pretty see-through,
They're pretty see-through. But they're really soft. I'm not going to wear them out of the house.
They're very soft, but they're very scandalous.
They are quite scandalous. We will see. I might have to rip back to the... I'm not redoing the waistband. I am keeping the waistband the way it is.
You can make a double layer.
Well, that's what I was... Or we sew in some sort of lining. I could sew in a lining of some sort.
It would have to be stretchy.
I've been getting very good at stretchy fabrics.
I understand. That would have to be very stretchy.
We'll figure it out.
Yes. Would the avocados look good in there?
I don't have enough of the avocados to do more with the avocados. Okay. I made 3 projects out of that yard. That yard of fabric.
I think I'd like to get some denim colored and make.
We can look on
those.
Mood. Yeah.
Yes.
We can look at Mood.
Okay.
And see. But yeah, that's all I've been working on. I do want to work on a few other things, but I'm trying to stay monogamous as much as I can in order to get things done right now. Yeah.
So,
what are you prepping over here?
Prepping over here my Emma's yarn into a ball, and I've had a problem lately with some of these hand-dyed yarns, taking them out of skeins and putting them on the Swift, and then trying to wind them. That somehow, even though I've separated them as to how they come out of the skein, there's usually 3 or 4 that are looped over, and I cut them when they're on the Swift, so it's not like, I don't know, it's magic. So now I've taken to, it's a form of meditation. I just have the skein open on my lap, looped over a chair arm, so it doesn't run away from me, and I'm just balling up this yarn. I feel very much like Little Miss Muffet sitting on a tuffet type of thing. But it's, I don't know, I think it's calming. Anyway, My Boy Lollipop has come out with some larger sizes for the My Boy Lollipop.
Nancy Ricci did some more grading and more test knitting for the sizes for
no pattern on that,
the 50, 52, and 54-inch bust measurements, which she is recommending to choose a size with a -2-inch ease.
So I'm thinking of putting this on a 4.
I mean,
it's supposed to be on a 7, but that's
what do they recommend for the? Does she have a recommendation on her yarn? No, she doesn't. I mean, it's a fingering. I'd try a 3 or a 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't think a 5. I think a 5 will be too open.
So I think
Too
I'll
loose
try
a
a
gauge.
4. So I'm going to do a gauge swatch on a size 4, and we'll see if we like the fabric.
Because this pattern is a DK pattern, so instead of holding it double, Mom is going to not hold it double and possibly make it longer because you have so much yarn
I do.
for it.
This yarn is, I
600 a skein.
Yes, 600 yards per skein.
So where I made my Boy Lollipop with just over 500 yards of DK, we'll see how much it takes in fingering, and we will also then see if you want to make it longer, because I could see you doing hip increases to make it more of a tunic or a dress, because it's a beautiful shape.
Yes, it is, and I love that, just that little thing at the
little
top.
detail, the little decreased detail there is. I've told her I've told her multiple times when I've met Nancy at different events that it is just perfection, and it's the smallest detail.
It is,
but I think it's the like crowning glory of that pattern, and it's the reason I want to knit like one in every color. But yeah, so I do want to get working on more of my cross stitch.
I didn't do any cross stitch this week. Oh, and I got an email that my set of embroidery hoops is on its way.
Yay!
I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's on its way.
Okay.
So that's good.
Oh, but I did just see, we'll post it down below, there is a cross-stitch and embroidery designer who just did a piece for Gigi, or based on Gigi's Stand in the Gap. So I do think I'm going to get that. The sample is knit in, or is cross-stitched and embroidered in orange.
Okay.
But yeah, so that, I do think I'm going to get that and probably make one to restart my cross-stitch mojo.
I've got another, I got a cross-stitch on Etsy. I don't even know what it is, but it's coming from Finland.
You're so excited.
I am very excited about the whole thing.
I'm glad.
And I have found a few that I those little ones I had stuffed in my purse just in case, but I think I'll take them out of my purse because there is no way on the boat that I'm actually doing counted cross stitch when your father says, "Could you give me?" And I jump up and he goes, "Oh no, never mind, it's here." Meanwhile, it's
apparently everything he asked Mom for today was beside him or under
him, in one of his cargo pants pockets. But he was sure that it was where I was, or close to where I was.
Obviously.
So. It's a very different summer.
Yes.
It's because of COVID. Normally, our boat would have been in the water a month by now.
I mean, we probably would have been out on the boat every weekend so far, or the last few weekends.
Oh, absolutely. And at this moment, I know, I see.
Okay.
But it's taken a while for marinas to open up in different areas.
Due to the different regulations in the different states.
So we're just kind of waiting to see, and of course, we're not even in the water yet. So, see, this is what I mean.
I know.
But, I mean,
I don't know. Sometimes it happens when you do it by hand, and then sometimes it doesn't happen, because then sometimes it doesn't happen when you put it on the Swift.
I had just had lousy luck.
You've had lousy luck.
I
know.
And it's nothing against hand-dyed yarns. They're gorgeous, and I'm happy to have them. So let's see what else. The headaches, we did that. I've talked about my Nikki Epstein. Back to the topic of losing weight. I've decided to get on the scale every morning.
Okay.
And if it's not less than it was the day before, cut something out that day.
Okay.
Like less rice.
Okay.
And then get on the scale the next day. And, because obviously I don't have the right equilibrium.
Okay.
Okay.
And this also will help with the knee pain. So
yes.
This is more to yes. This
did not work when I had the migraine.
No, obviously. I wish there was a way to be like, no, I have a migraine. I'm going to eat everything because possibly I will feel better.
Well, possibly, because, I mean,
But also, I find that sometimes I lose my sense of taste, and the only things I can taste are really salty or really sweet things.
Yes.
And it's very frustrating when you know what something should taste like and it doesn't taste the same, and you know it's only because you're having a neurological issue, and it's not
fun.
Yeah, so I that is why
we're
I
talking
keep
about it a lot
cookies.
today because it happened a lot this week with the train of the storms.
And
I hope no one was negatively affected by those storms because they were vicious storms.
Yeah.
Came across the country, I think from the Midwest out to the East Coast. I really don't think I have anything else to say. I've got this blanket spread that I think I'm doing. I'm going to, now that I printed out the new directions for my test knit, I had sent her the comments last week saying there's something wrong, and she has changed them, which is very good. I'm going to go down to, I think she says that once you split for the sleeves, go down about 4 inches. I think at that point I will put it on waste yarn and then start on my sleeves so that I know that I've got enough yarn to be able to make the length. So I've got a bunch of things that I want to work on this week, and as long as the storms leave me alone, I think I'll at least get on each one of them. Yeah. So that'll be good.
Yeah. It's a short one this... Oh! We've been meaning to talk about it. Stash Dash began.
Oh, yes. I have to set up a...
Page?
Okay. Or a spreadsheet.
Okay.
Yes, and it goes from...
May 22nd to August 22nd.
All right, and everything I'm knitting is out of stash.
Yes. So that's great.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was... I played
the
bingo with some friends last night, and... I think, Laura was there, Leslie was there, but Boston Jen was there, and she was getting some stash dashing done, and it reminded me that Mom had wanted to talk about it and wanted to know the dates, and, had wanted to participate this year.
Yes.
So that is something.
Now, who runs that?
The Knit Girls. The Knit Girls run that.
Okay.
So we'll link that below. But, I just remembered that.
We're still, a lot of us are at home, so look at your stash, see what you want to make, and get it done.
Yeah.
So, as I said, that blue sweater that I finished counts. So, very excited. So, is it finishing something during that time so you can take those old whips that you got under the table? Yeah, I think whips count, and get her done. So I think you'd have to count what you do during Stash Dash. We have to look at the rules.
I know. We'll link to the... I think there's a Ravelry group or a Ravelry thread that we can post down below.
We'll do that.
Yeah, so I will figure that out. I'm just trying to find... Because
Meanwhile, it is a good time to kind of sit and think about things that you'd like to do to improve yourself, or things that perhaps you've wanted to try for a long period of time, and see if you can order them in and try them while you're not maybe so oversubscribed to a lot of other activities outside the house.
And if you are looking at books, take a look at bookshop.org. They are a great resource for indie bookshops, so that you are supporting indie bookshops. Specifically, I know that the Lit Bar is the only indie bookshop in the Bronx, and it's a Black-owned bookshop that only opened within the last 2 years, I believe.
Oh my goodness.
So I think almost everything I order in terms of books will be through them, through their bookshop.org page, because we can't let that die. Because
books are important.
Books are very important. So I just wanted to mention that as well. And again, it goes along with your things you might not have had time to do before.
That's right.
But
that's right.
Also, if you need, activities for the kiddos, you can get kids' books through bookshop.com or bookshop.org too.
I used to have with Elizabeth a book where it had a different project for every day. And there were things like making your own Play-Doh. There were all kinds of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did we do all of it? No. But it at least gave you a lot of different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So check it out. It might help expand your horizons.
Yeah.
Anything else, my dear?
I think that's about it. Hopefully next week I'll have some sewing to show you. I was just gonna say I need to talk to you about some sewing that I think we need to use your machine to do. And then
that your machine won't do?
We need to make another backpack for Cassie.
Oh.
I have all the pieces, but I just realized that I think we should probably use your machine because it's a little bit heftier.
Oh, all right.
Well, and I think we found with my machine it was a little... You said it might be better on your machine when we made my backpack. If we were to make another one.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it as
it happens.
And I do not think I'm going home today.
Oh,
so
okay.
I still have more laundry to do. Yes, I come to my parents and I do my laundry. This is what I do.
Well, because the laundry machines in your apartment smell.
Yes, I have an allergy to floral scented objects and floral scented soaps and detergents. So everything in my house.
Everybody else thinks smells good. Makes
me ill.
Crazy.
So I get a migraine typically, and so I can't use the laundry units in my building. I tried once when I first moved in, and it's no good. And then you worry about the lingering scents on your clothing, even though you've used unscented detergents. There's a whole thing. But yeah, so I think it's time.
We're going to weave in ends.
Yes, to weave in our ends, and we will talk to you all next week.
Bye,
y'all.